Hi there, and welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today I am going to make a really simple cookie called a pecan ball. And my mom has been making these for years and years and years. And then, of course, when I grew up, I carried on the tradition and I've been making them every year around the holidays for as long as I can remember. They are super easy to make no matter whether you have the Ninja Foodi hot cold blender or not. You can do this a ton of different ways and I will let you know that in just a few minutes. But I found that the batter whips up perfectly in the blender, and so that's what I'm going to do because it takes out another extra step of doing the food processing with the pecans. So the pecan balls are made up of 5 ingredients, and that is it. And it is 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of halved pecans, half of a cup or 1 stick of salted butter, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and that is it. All right, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna make the batter now. So what I'm gonna do is add in the flour to the hot cold blender. And then we're gonna add in the 1 cup of pecans. Put the lid on. And then turn the Ninja Foodi blender on, and we're just gonna pulse. We're gonna pulse 5 or 6 times, I would think, until we get the nuts ground up. Not quite as fine as flour, but you do want them to be on the fine side. All right, that looks good. So that was, I think, what, 4 times? Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put this, scrape down the sides again to get all the flour and the nuts right back in there. And now we're gonna put in the sugar. And honestly, you could probably put in the sugar before this too. You could put it in with the flour and the nuts. It wouldn't make any difference. And then we're gonna put in the half of a cup of salted butter that I've just put into like little tablespoon slices. And it's room temperature. And the vanilla extract goes in. And now we're gonna go on the low speed of the blender. And this can take anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, and sometimes you've gotta push down the side, so you know it might be a little bit different for you. All right, so let's go to the blend and the low. And just let it do its thing. If it seems like the flour on the sides are not being combined, like mine, probably I can push this down a little bit. You don't even need to interrupt the blender. Just go ahead and open it up and push it down. Get it off the sides here. This is a dry dough. There's no eggs or anything like that in there, so it is on the dry side. This is a dry cookie, and it's coated in powdered sugar, and they're so pretty, and they're absolutely delicious. All right, hit the low again. All right, I'm gonna stop that. It looks like we're done. That's it. Quick and easy, that's what I like. Now, if you go down into here and you see that there's flour that hasn't been mixed in, you could put it back on. But it looks like mine is pretty good. And now I'm just gonna get it out into a bowl. You could scoop it directly from the blender, but I find that the well is pretty deep at the bottom, and so I like to go ahead and get mine out into a bowl just so I can scoop it out pretty easily. I usually have a skinny scraper that goes down in the bowl really easily, but I made a mistake the other day. Had it on a function that periodically would whip the blades around, and I stuck the scraper in there. Well, you know what? The blades destroyed it. It was gone. So I'm waiting for a replacement. So I'm kind of, this one does not get down as deep as the other one does as easily. So it takes me a little bit longer. A skinny scraper is ideal for this blender. I can't even, I'm gonna have to move to a spoon, I think, because I can't even get this. This is too wide to fit in between the blades. So I'm gonna grab a spoon and finish this up. And then we'll have all of our batter right here in this bowl, and we will get it onto our cookie sheet into the Ninja Foodi digital air fry oven. And we're gonna bake these up right in the oven because it takes a lot less time, almost half the time to do them in the oven as it does my regular gas oven. All right, so I'm gonna use the tray that came with the Ninja Foodi oven. It is a 13 by 13 non-stick pan, or tray, I should say, and it will fit all of these cookies. These cookies don't spread a lot, so you don't have to worry. They don't even puff up. So you don't, a little bit, but not much. So you don't have to worry about spacing them out very far apart. I usually do it between a half and an inch apart. And what is sort of important, I mean, I've had somebody test this recipe for me and she used a larger scoop. So I would say if you have the small Pampered Chef scoop or the medium, you could do them either way. But I like to do the small because you really don't need a large cookie. They are dry and they are covered in powdered sugar, and really this size is good. It's about a teaspoon. Or if you want to weigh them just to get an idea for size, it's 13 grams. Each one of these is about 13 grams. So what I do is just grab a scoop out. Now, you can just put them right down on your tray. I don't do that though. I like mine to be more as a ball, so I just roll them between my palms of my hands just for a second. And then put them on there. They do flatten some on the bottom just during the baking, but they don't flatten as much as if you just left the bottom flat. So I take the extra time to do that, but you don't have to. You could just put them right on the cookie sheet that way. Such an easy cookie to make, and they are really delicious. With the air fry oven, it takes really almost half the time, because well, it does take half the time because there's no preheating. You don't have to preheat. It preheats in very quickly, and then you drop the time. It usually takes about 40 minutes in the oven for these to bake, and they're done in 25 in the air fry oven. So I was pretty happy with that. Of course, you could always make these in the regular oven too. And in my written post on my website, I will absolutely give you all of the times and temperatures for baking them in the oven if you want to make them in the oven. And if you wanted to make them without the hot cold blender, what you would do is just either use a food processor or some other type of grinder to grind up the nuts, or you could do it by hand, but it would be a bit hard because you would really have to get them fine. So if you put them into a plastic bag and you want to use like a rolling pin, just make sure that they are pretty fine. You don't want big chunks of the pecans in the cookie. Once you got the pecans all ground up, you would just add in the rest of the ingredients and either use a hand mixer to mix them together, or a KitchenAid mixer would be fine as well. All right, last one. So what do we have? I think we have 24 cookies. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick, and then we're gonna get these into the oven and we'll bake them for 25 minutes at 325 degrees. And you can see how fast it preheats because I'm gonna put these in before I even turn the oven on. All right, so let's go ahead and get our cookies in. There's a tray in there, and I'm just gonna slide this right in there, just like that. And we're gonna turn the air fry oven on. We want to be on bake, and we want to be on 325 degrees, but we want the time to go up to 25. So I'm just going to hit the time here and use the dial to go up to 25 minutes, and then push the button, and the little red PRE for preheat blinks. That will happen for about 60 seconds, maybe even a little less. I think they say it takes a minute, but I've seen it take less time than that. and then it will start the countdown of the 25 minutes. Now, you can safely walk away from this for at least a good 15, maybe even 20 minutes. But at the 20-minute mark, you kind of want to be close. You want to watch to see if they're getting too brown. They will start to crack just a little bit. Don't worry about that. That's fine. And they will brown up just slightly. But you don't want them too brown because the nuts can burn and then they don't taste very good. So the last 5 minutes, really keep an eye on them. But for now, we can just leave it alone. And it should start right away. Now the bake function, you'll hear a fan go on once in a while, but it does not run the fan constantly. On the air fry, the air roast, air broil, and the dehydrate, the fan will be running. All right, it was that quick. Now it's preheated, and now it's doing the countdown. So we'll just let these bake, and now I'm gonna get my powdered sugar out into the containers, because when these come out of the oven, while they're warm, we're gonna roll them in powdered sugar 3 times, and then you also store them in powdered sugar. All right, so it's gone past the 20-minute mark, but I did check them at 20 minutes, and then I thought I should probably show you what they look like at this moment, and then so you can judge if they're getting too done for you. All right, so let's just pull these out here. So they are cracking a little bit right on the top. That is perfectly normal, and they are browning, but you will notice that they're not burning, and they're not burning on the bottom, but they are browning. They can go the whole 25 minutes. I could probably even take them out now, but it's gonna be fine to go the whole 25 minutes. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then once they're done, I'm gonna take them out. We're gonna put them here to cool for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna get them into the powdered sugar, and we'll roll them 3 times, and then we get to eat. Yay! That's the best part, always. We get to taste them. All right, so it just beeped at me that they are done. It also says end and that the oven is hot, which we kind of know, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out. They look absolutely beautiful, and hopefully you can see that they did spread some. I mean, very little, but the bottoms are flat. And what I've found when I've made these before is if I don't roll them and I just scoop them out, they spread just a little bit more. They are still delicious, but they're not necessarily pecan balls. They're more like pecan discs, but you could do it either way. It will not affect anything. Now, one of the features of this oven that I just wanted to point out is the fact that it can flip up. I'm not gonna do that right now. You don't do it when it's hot, but it can flip up and be stored underneath most cabinets. So it fits perfectly underneath my cabinets. And I love that because then you don't lose your counter space all the time. What will happen after you're done cooking, as it cools down, it'll actually do a little readout here that says flip. The first time I saw that, I thought, flip? I don't even have any food in there. What does it want me to flip? And it's saying that it's safe now to flip the oven up. You know, isn't that crazy? All right, so we do want to let these cool just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and take them off the rack to do that. So I'm just going to take a little, I don't even know what you call these. Some people call them turners. I always call them spatulas. I'm not sure. Whatever you want to call them. You see what I'm using. And just take them off the cookie sheet. This is hot, so they'll continue to cook a little bit, which would be okay, but I don't want them to get too brown on the bottom. And they smell so good. After I made these the other day, and my time was cut in half, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make key lime version of this too. Those are gonna be delicious. So I got the key lime oil that I need to introduce that great flavor. Whew, I'm excited. All right, I can just set that right on top. That won't affect anything. And then what we have here is our powdered sugar. You could do this with just 1 pan of powdered sugar. That wouldn't be any problem at all. I just find, powdered sugar is pretty cheap, and I will use 3. So what I have here is just little disposable trays. We use them over and over again though. With 1 cup of powdered sugar in each one. And then I have the container that I'm gonna store mine in. You could store them in a plastic bag or any type of container. If it's airtight, that's better. This one is not, but I'm gonna be taking some pictures and we're gonna eat them, so no problems with that. And you store them in the powdered sugar as well. And the reason why I like to move them from place to place, first of all, it's easier to do it that way, but also heat starts to melt powdered sugar, so you don't want to just keep rolling them in the same powdered sugar. I like to just keep moving them around. So we're going to roll them 3 times. Well, we'll roll them twice, 3 times, but we'll also store them right in there. So give them maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we'll be ready. You do want to roll them while they're warm, though. You don't want to let them cool all the way off, or the powdered sugar will not stick to the cookie, and you want it to stick to the cookie. All right, so really, I didn't even let these cool 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and put them in. I just don't want them to cool off too much. So I'll put in like 4 at a time. You could do this with your hands even, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. It's just a little easier. Or you could shake them around. But anyway, just coat them and then throw them in the next one. Might be a little messier, but it's a little quicker. These are so delicious. I don't worry about sifting my powdered sugar for this, but you could if you wanted to. Either way is fine. I just don't worry about it. I'm trying to get as many into this first bin of powdered sugar as I can before they cool off too much. Because once they're cool, the powdered sugar will not melt on them, and then they look like they're okay to eat and everything, but they just don't look as Snow White pretty much, you know, because they're supposed to be like really covered. You can see this one now. Now this one is, if you can see right here, that's where the powdered sugar has melted on already. If you don't have the Ninja Foodi digital air fry oven, you could use your regular oven or any other kind of oven that bakes. Any toaster oven will be fine. If you're using a small oven like this, I would definitely decrease the temperature to 325 and go for about 25 minutes and just look and watch and see. You know, they may take a little longer or a little less time to cook. But if you're using an oven, whether it's electric or gas, it's like a regular full-size oven, they usually take about 40 minutes on 350 degrees. So just, you know, plan accordingly, but you can make them in anything that bakes, you can make them. If you find that you're not getting a whole lot of the loose powdered sugar, if it's all absorbing and kind of melting onto the cookie, feel free to take them back into container 1, which is what I'm gonna do. And just kind of coat them again. All right, so let's get to tasting the pecan ball. Oh my gosh, these are my favorite. They're perfect. Absolutely perfect. They are buttery. They are, I just can't even describe them really. You have to make them. They're dry, but they're not like choke you dry. They are so flavorful. They are so easy to make. And they are always a hit on any cookie tray, I'm telling you. So give these a try. And the one thing that I wanted to talk about real quick is the way that these Ninja Foodi family appliances work together. I mean, that is the one thing that I have really noticed. Is I can use the blender to make up the batter and then cook it in the air fry oven. It works perfectly. But I've also made barbecue sauce, and I've made that in the blender, and then I've done a 360 chicken meal with potatoes and a vegetable in the Ninja Foodi. And using both appliances, or even all 3 appliances, really, it does a great job to make your meals super delicious and super easy.